Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. We get what we focus on, what we feel, what we believe to be true. And I like to start every day with something that gets me into a calm, organized, joyful state of being, knowing that the thoughts that I think on repeat are the circumstances of my life. That is proven in the Bible, it's proven in psychology, it's proven by neuroscience. So, what people tend to do is look at their circumstances and say, see, I told you that my life is terrible. This always happens to me. And I want you to try and notice what you're thinking and turn those thoughts around if they're negative, because we've been programmed to look at the outside world and believe that that is reality, but our reality is created by what we think, because what we think and feel causes us to take action. And it's through our actions that our reality becomes. Now, yesterday was Monday, and I started reading As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. If you have a lot of things coming at you during the day, you might want to read the chapter Serenity. Bob Proctor was a mentor to me, and he would suggest that people read Serenity or write it out every day for 30 days. I actually knew a young man who wrote out Serenity for more than 365 consecutive days using his non-dominant hand. And that caused him to really focus on what was going on in his life and calm, so that this young man was actually riding motorcycles through a hoop of flames. He was performing and he was calm because every single day he wrote out serenity with his non-dominant hand. So if you're used to writing with your right hand and you take your left hand and write out the chapter Serenity every day, that will program your mind. It'll calm your central nervous system. It will allow you to be calm no matter the circumstances, and that will change your life. I won't read the whole chapter, but it starts with calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort in self-control. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought-evolved being, for such knowledge necessitates the understanding of others as the result of thought. And as he develops a right understanding and sees more and more clearly the internal relations of things by the action of cause and effect, he ceases to fuss and fume and worry and grieve and remains poised, steadfast, serene. Well, I thank you very much for being here with me every morning. And I've been putting my morning mindfulness practice. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and I've been putting it on YouTube. And I'm hoping that I reach more people. So if you see my Transformational Change by Susan A. McDonald on YouTube, you could like it, maybe share it. and have more people be reached. I want to read some more from As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. At the start of this little powerful book, he talks about thought and character. The aphorism, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, not only embraces the whole of a man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstance of his life. A man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. The complete sum of all a person's thoughts. What you believe becomes true for you. What you think on a regular basis becomes your life. We have somewhere between 60 and 90 thoughts a day. If your dominant thoughts are on, life is always working out for me, I can do anything, I can do anything through God, whatever it is you desire, you must get into the feeling of it already being yours. What's it like to be in the state of calm, in the state of, I can do this, I got this, the universe has my back. Whatever you believe becomes true for you. James Allen says, as the plant springs from and could not be without the seed, so every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts that are called spontaneous and unpremeditated as to those which are deliberately executed. Your actions act is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruits. Thus does a man garner in the sweet and bitter fruitage of his own husbandry. Thought in the mind hath made us. What we are by thought was wrought and built. Wrought means shaped or created. If a man's mind hath evil thoughts, pain comes on him as comes the wheel the ox behind. If one endure in purity of thought, joy follows him as his own shadow sure. Man is a growth by law and not a creation by artifice, and cause and effect is as absolute and undeviating in the hidden realm of thought as in the world of visible and material things. A noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking, the effect of long cherished association with godlike thought. Now, some people don't like to use the word God, or they think that it's religious. You might say divine supreme power, universal energy, the God of your understanding, the higher self. Even people who were scientifically based atheists believe that there must be a higher power in order for the miracles of this world. And if you step back and look, everything can become a miracle. The way an oak tree grows out of an acorn seed, the way a tiny little mustard seed proliferates fields of mustard seeds. You know that in Canada, we're starting to experience spring. The snow is melting, the buds are starting to form on the trees, And soon enough, the grass will be green and the flowers will be in bloom. But everything is changing and moving and growing and becoming. Everything is always becoming. The things that you think are like seeds, they become your reality. You want to focus your energy, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions toward what you really want in your life. And there will be times that you have to go through great struggles, and that is to strengthen you, to have you become the version of you that has the beautiful life. Not by force, not by effort, but by belief and intentional thoughts, feelings, and actions. Neville Goddard says, a man's mind may be likened to a garden in which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. You know, when your mind is worried, it's stressed, it's focused on everything that's going wrong, it's like you're allowing the weeds of the garden to overtake the vegetable garden, overtake the beautiful flowers. When you focus your energy, your thoughts, your feelings in the direction of what's good, sometimes it takes a while to look for the good in a situation, but when you realize that you can pull the weeds out of the garden, you'll have to pull them out by the roots and then allow the beautiful flowers to grow, focusing on nurturing, watering, harvesting what you do want, rather than letting your mind go crazy and wild and thinking about all the bad things that can happen to you. James Allen says, a man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild, but whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. It must and will bring forth. What is it that you desire? You focus on that. When you're calm, when you're relaxed, first thing in the morning and various times throughout the day, allowing your body to relax, your mind to relax, and then purposefully focusing on what you do want. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein and will continue to produce their kind. Just as a gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds and growing the flowers and the fruits which he requires, so may a man tend the garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the fruits and flowers of right, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals within him the laws of thought and understands with ever-increasing accuracy how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, his circumstances, and his destiny. Thought and character are one, and as character can only manifest and discover itself through environment and circumstance, the outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. This does not mean that a man's circumstances at any given time are an indication of his entire character, but that those circumstances are so intimately connected with some vital thought element within himself that for the time being, they are indispensable to his development. Every man is where he is by the law of his being. The thoughts which he has built into his character have brought him there, and the arrangement of his life, there is no element of chance, but all is the result of a law which cannot err. This is just as true as for those who feel out of harmony with their surroundings as of those who are contented with them. As a progressive and evolving being, man is where he is, that he may learn, that he may grow, and as he learns the spiritual lesson which any circumstance contains for him, it passes away and gives place to other circumstances. James Allen goes on to say, man is buffeted by circumstances so long as he believes himself to be the creature of outside conditions. But when he realizes that he is a creative power and that he may command the hidden soil and seeds of his being out of which circumstances grow, he then becomes the rightful master of himself. The circumstances grow out of thought. Every man knows who has for any length of time practiced self-control and self-purification, for he will have noticed that the alteration in his circumstances has been in exact ratio with his altered mental condition. So true is this that when a man earnestly applies himself to remedy the defects in his character and makes swift and marked progress, he passes rapidly through a succession of vicissitudes. The soul attracts that which it secretly harbors, that which it loves, and also that which it fears. It reaches the height of his cherished aspirations, and it falls to the level of its unchastened desires, and circumstances are the means by which the soul receives its own. Every thought seed sown or allowed to fall into the mind and take root there produces its own, blossoming sooner or later into act and bearing its own fruitage of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit, bad thoughts, bad fruit. The outer world of circumstance shapes itself to the inner world of thought, and both pleasant and unpleasant external conditions are factors which make for the ultimate good of the individual. As the reaper of his own harvest, mankind learns both by suffering and bliss. A man does not come to the pothouse or the goal by the tyranny of fate or circumstance, but the pathway of thoughts and desires. Nor does a pure-minded man fall suddenly into crime of stress by any mere external force. Thoughts have been secretly fostered in the heart, and the hour of opportunity revealed its gathered power. Circumstance does not make the man, it reveals him to himself. Lord and Master of Thought. Man is the Lord and Master of Thought, is the maker of himself, the shaper and author of environment. Even at birth, the soul comes to its own, and through every step of its earthly pilgrimage, it attracts those combinations of conditions which reveal itself, which are the reflections of its own purity and impurity, its strength and weakness. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. The divinity that shapes our ends is in ourselves. It is our very self. James Allen says, man is manacled only by himself. Thought and action are the jailers of fate. They imprison being base, but they are also the angels of freedom. They liberate being noble. Not what he wishes and prays for does a man get, but what he earns. His wishes and prayers are only gratified and answered when they harmonize with his thoughts and actions. Now, that is so powerful and so important. Wishes and prayers are only gratified and answered when they harmonize with thoughts and actions. That's why he continues to say, you become what you are. So I encourage you to spend a few minutes every morning, as soon as you wake up, before you grab your phone, before you get into jumping out of bed and hitting the ground running and going after what you want, or being forced to grind it out to earn a paycheck. That's not a lovely way to live. But before you start your day, and the last thing at night before you fall asleep, get into the feeling of profound gratitude. You can just start with, thank you. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the lessons I've learned. Thank you for the limbs that I have. I can walk and run. I can work. I can play. I can do things. My life is formed through my actions. Thank you for my eyes that I can see. Thank you for the opportunity to do good in this world. Thank you for unfolding my purpose in life. Thank you for a hot cup of coffee or a nice cup of tea. Thank you for a bed to sleep in, for a roof over my head. Thank you for the clothes. Thank you, I am always taken care of. Thank you for the beauty of nature. If you're in a dark space, notice and do something to change your energy. Stand up and shake your body. Go for a walk. Phone a friend. Enjoy a hot shower or a cold shower. Enjoy a bubble bath. Enjoy reading a passage from the Bible. And notice what you're noticing. The last paragraph of Serenity says, tempest-tossed souls, wherever ye may be, under whatsoever conditions ye may live, know this: in the ocean of life, the isles of blessedness are smiling, and the sunny shore of your ideal awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. And then when you are in a strong, calm state of mind, and your heart is open, and you're feeling profoundly grateful, then I want you to write down what you truly desire. You know in your heart what you desire. Maybe you've written it 100 times, or you carry a goal card around with you. But I want you to write it in the present tense as if it's already done. You've already experienced it. It's here now. How would you feel? How profoundly grateful would you be with your ideal partner, a loving relationship? The bills are all paid and you have money to go on that beautiful trip. Your business is flourishing and you're serving the ideal clients. You've written your book and the world has made you a best-selling author and you've changed lives. How do you feel? If you have a deep desire for something that's meant for you, you wouldn't have that desire unless it's meant for you. You need to have your mind, your body, your feelings, your actions all in alignment. There will be good days and bad days. There will be times that it feels like nothing is changing. And ultimately, you will be living a beautiful picture in your mind. But it takes practice to write about it, to think about it as if it's already complete, especially when the circumstances of your life are showing you the opposite. You're just in the middle of the journey. As you build your faith, as you write what you desire as a destination, as a goal that you know is yours, and get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The more often you do that under calm conditions, the faster it will come to you. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.